the storm surge for Citrus County is not now. It's not now. He's right. It's not till much later today. So a lot of people be like, oh, we got a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind, time to go home. And then realize that that's when the storm surge is going to be a problem. And it goes down the coast. Storm surge will be a problem for all of us this afternoon, all the way into the afternoon. So let's not let the guard down as far as the water goes. Wind and rain, okay, I get that. The rain, we needed the rain. The wind, not so bad here in our area, but further north. Let me show you, okay. This, folks, is the strongest hurricane to ever enter this part of the Gulf of Mexico, as far as we know. 130 mile-per-hour winds. Keep in mind, yesterday morning at 2 a.m., this was a tropical storm, and now it is a Category 4 hurricane. And you know how we know it's continuing to intensify? Look around the center. You see that area shaded in red. You see the lightning that's going off in and around the center of that storm. That is a sign of intensification, and this rapid intensification will continue all the way up to landfall. Where's landfall going to be? Well, right now, obviously, you've got Steenhatchee sitting right there, and they're really in the crosshairs of the center of this particular storm, and that is a huge, huge concern because the town of Steenhatchee is right on the Steenhatchee River, which of course attaches to the Gulf of Mexico. So you're likely going to get the maximum storm surge to roll right up that Steenhatchee River as this storm makes landfall. Now, if you go west of Steenhatchee, it's pretty sparsely populated. There's an area, Big Bend Wildlife Management Area, and that's that huge stretch, and then you get up toward a beautiful little town called Fish Creek. So between Fish Creek and Steenhatchee, there's not much. It's just that wildlife management area, but Steenhatchee is populated, and that beautiful little town on the river. We talked about the rain bands as they get closer and closer. Look, here's a hefty rain band, which is about to touch Citrus County, Hernando, Pasco, and just off the coast of Pinellas. Stands to reason, maybe you get a quick little tornado spin up. Don't be surprised if that happens. So that's why, again, we're just being cautious this morning. The rainfall totals in general are not bad for us. Okay, that's good. We got some soaking rate. We could use more, but the winds weren't that bad. We're still concerned, of course, about the tides and the high tide this afternoon. Speaking of a wall of water, you got wave heights in the Northeast Gulf now 16 to 22 feet. Where do you think that water is going? Into that area of Florida. It has to. It can't go anywhere else. You know, when you have a storm moving right through the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, the waves can propagate out in all different directions, as is the height and just the general storm surge. But now it can't. It's all concentrated into one spot, and that spot is the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. So, again, still a lot for those folks. Let's track it. Let's talk about the 5 a.m. advisory, and I want to bring in my buddy and yours, Tony Sadiku.
Yeah, Dave, digesting some of this latest data coming in from the Hurricane Center as of the 5 o'clock update. A lot comes in at 5 o'clock. We've been getting updates every hour on position, strength, and all those sorts of things. Get a track update, but at this point, things are locked in that in the Big Bend, within a matter of hours, they're going to be dealing with a powerful, intensifying Category 4 hurricane. So we got winds up to 130. That makes it a Cat 4. As of this update, the movement north-northeast at about 18, so it's picked up in speed. But the pressure, I want to note, has gone down. That also signifies an intensifying storm. But the storm as well has gotten a little bit larger. So while the hurricane force winds extend out 25 miles, the tropical storm force winds now extend out 175 miles. So 175 miles from the center on both directions, we've got tropical storm force winds. That's why we're in a situation that we're feeling some of those winds, and those winds are what are going to push water onto the shore once the storm goes by, leading to a storm surge threat later today. All right, so when you look at the projection here, the storm going to make landfall in the Big Bend, somewhere between Wakulla, Taylor, Jefferson counties, and then moving north. It will weaken, but still batter parts of Cross City, Chiefland, all the way up into sections of South Georgia before weakening into a tropical storm as it exits the Carolinas. But still a hefty system pushing into South Georgia through later this morning. So the big concern for us is surge. Numbers are still holding on. The possibility that 12 to 16 feet of water. And it makes sense when you think about what Dave was showing earlier with the wave heights. Now that water pushing on shore along that area. Now, it's important to notice most of this is not in our viewing area, but this is what they're going to be dealing with. We are also going to be seeing surge. It's not going to be that high, but along the coast, we're already seeing some water bumping on shore. Coastal spots dealing with high water. With the high tide earlier this morning, we are approaching low tide this morning, but the water isn't necessarily going to go down, and through the day tomorrow, this is why we expect water issues to persist. Because right now you look at the winds. I know folks in Crystal River and Brooksville and Hernando County are looking at the waters, and so far things are okay. That's because the winds right now are coming in from the south. You're not pushing in Gulf water when the winds are from the south. You are in some of these places, right? On the bay, for instance, we're seeing water being pushed onshore into like the Courtney Campbell Causeway and the Howard Franklin Bridge. So those areas are already seeing water with a south wind. Eventually, the storm lifts to the north, and these winds, you can imagine with the counterclockwise flow, they're going to start to go like this. And still at a pretty strong pace, that's what's going to start to push water onshore. So when you look at the wind gust futurecast here, through this morning, late morning, so late morning, 10, 11, 1, noon, 1, 2 o'clock, that's when those winds really start to get cranking. And even though the storm will be in like Georgia by then, it's still going to be relatively strong, and it's still going to be influencing us with some strong onshore winds that could be gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour along the coast. So we'll have to be on guard for the threat for storm surge in the hours ahead, especially for our secondary tide, which we expect to be a higher tide than the original. So lots to still talk about when it comes to surge, but there's another threat that we've got to watch. The flooding. We're under flood watch, but we're also seeing high water levels along our rivers. We're going to talk more about that part of the forecast and take you through the weekend. Guys, coming up in a bit.